Hello, everybody. Kimberly Maska here, your fearless leader in spiritual biz success. And I was reading a funny post right now. So are you finding yourself limited financially? Especially the holidays just happened, right? So we have all these financial limitations. And are those quote unquote limitations keeping you from creating your spiritual business to step out as a spiritual leader so that you can truly serve? I hear this fairly frequently, and it's always fascinating to me because when we talk about our limitations or what I don't have, we're creating more of that reality. So the post that I saw was someone said, oh, I don't have that. I don't have whatever it was. They were talking about money. I don't have. And I'm like, why would you create the limitation around what you don't have? You guys are powerful, powerful beings. And I think we've all forgotten about how powerful that we are. And in that moment of forgetting, we create these limitations. And the limitations that we create for ourselves are a human trap. Because when we are connected with Source and we're in flow, there are no limitations to what we do. There's no limitations to what we can create. There are no limitations when we are connected with Source. So when we begin to create limitations around ourselves of I don't have, or I can't start my business yet because of financial things and all of that stuff, when we create that limitation, you're just setting a trap for yourself. Plus, the very words of I don't have create this low vibration. It shows your disconnection from Source. And so I don't know, you're really just creating that reality. And that's not the reality that you want to create, right? That's not the reality that you want to create of the I don't have, or I've got a limitation so I can't do something. I know when we came into this dimension that we had an agreement with Source when we came in. And in that agreement, we said, yes, I'm going to come in and I'm going to live this life and I have all of this power and I'm going to do these amazing things. And then we got into this dimension and we forgot. We forgot how powerful we are as human beings. And when we forget, that's when we begin to create limitations around ourselves. So when I hear someone saying, I don't have or I can't do something, what they've done is they've created a human limitation. And it actually breaks my heart when I see people that have forgotten how powerful they are. So anyone in this group, you guys are here in Spiritual Biz Success. The whole idea is to create a successful spiritual business. And so if you are finding yourself creating limitations, you have to ask yourself what you're doing. Because many of you want to step out with the spiritual business. You want to step out with spiritual gifts. You want to be a spiritual leader. But a spiritual leader never uses the words I can't. A spiritual leader doesn't use the words I don't have. A spiritual leader does not put limitations on themselves. A true spiritual leader knows they have connection with Source, knows they are a powerful being. When you remember how powerful you are, there is nothing that you can't do. Everything is within reach. You can manifest something like this. You can manifest, most people want money, right? That's what they're always like, if I only had more money. You could manifest money in a heartbeat if you were in alignment with it. I've seen it. I've done it. It's unbelievable when we are in alignment. So when someone says they want to be a spiritual coach and they want to be a spiritual leader, but they're talking about the limitations of their financial world, I know they're disconnected. There is a disconnection from Source when you're seeing scarcity around you. That's part of this. We're not in flow, because to be abundant is our birthright. We're here on this planet to be abundant, to be in flow, to be thriving, and to be the best version of ourselves. And when we begin to put limitations on ourselves, we're disconnecting. Why would you do that? Why would you disconnect? If you want to help people and you want to step out as a spiritual leader, you have to be fully connected with Source. So one of the biggest things that I see in this group when clients that are on the phone with us that aren't ready for boot camp, what I'm seeing is that disconnection, that financial disconnection. They're like, I can't do it because of this and that. So they're creating the limitation, which is the human trap, which is showing their disconnection from Source. That's probably the biggest limitation that I'm seeing with spiritual leaders or people who want to be spiritual leaders and who want to really step out into the world and be able to serve. Because I hear people say all the time, I just want to help the people, but they want to help the people, but they don't know how to get there, and they're not taking the steps to get themselves into alignment with that creative process. So the next time you're catching yourself saying, I don't have, or I can't, and you're looking at the financial situation and you're looking at it from a place of scarcity, understand that you've lost your disconnection, or you've disconnected from source. You've lost your deep flow with source. Because when we're in flow with source, we are not in scarcity. We know it's there. The issue is that we're not in vibrational alignment for it to manifest in this reality. So if you're looking to be a spiritual leader, that's one of the first things you have to fix. One of the first things you need to adjust is your connection with source, so that the flow of money can come in. And money seems to be the biggest thing that gets spiritual people hung up. And it's amazing, because when we're in full connection with source, money flows to us, and yet so many spiritual people struggle with money. It's a fascinating thing to watch. So know, though, that you don't put limitations on yourself. You can't put limitations on yourself. You need to be in full connection with source, because only when you are in that full connection can you truly step out as a spiritual leader. It's so important to be able to be in that flow. So knowing that a lot of you guys really want to get out there and help, but this is one of the major issues that you guys are seeing, I've created something called Spiritual Biz Leadership. And in Spiritual Biz Leadership, it's a 6-month membership program. It's very reasonable. I priced it at $150 a month. I priced it that way because I want you to show up. And if it was any less than that, you probably wouldn't show up. And so Spiritual Biz Leadership is the jumping off point for boot camp. Because if you really want to change lives and have an impact on the world, boot camp is where you need to be. Because that's where I'm showing you how to truly create a mini empire to be able to shift lives and shift consciousness around the planet. But Spiritual Biz Leadership is the spot where now, if you're finding yourself wanting to help the people, but you're struggling with the money piece, you want to be a spiritual leader, but you can't quite get your head around the money part, and you're in scarcity, and you find yourself saying, I don't have, or I can't, you're just creating limitations, which means you need to be working on those characteristics to be a spiritual leader. And I've uncovered 5 characteristics that I can see my clients who are true spiritual leaders out there that they have been able to master. And this is what I'm teaching you in Spiritual Biz Leadership. Again, it's a 6-month program. I'm going to post the link in here so you can take a look at it. If you guys are finding, again, that financial piece is what's hanging you up with stepping out, and that I don't have, or I can't, or I have to work hard for the money, all of those things, it's just showing that there's a disconnection from source. And to be a true spiritual leader out there, you need to be in flow at all times. So what I want to be able to do is just show you guys how to master that piece, so that then you can shift, so that you can step out in a major way and be able to shift lives around the planet, because that is what you are here to do. So I'm going to see if there's any questions or anything like that. Hello, Emmeline. Rosalie, how are you? I can't actually scroll. There we go. Who else? So tuning in from Florida. How are you guys? Hello, Daruba. Yes, Daruba's just graduating from boot camp. She was saying it's like her life-changing experience, and Giovanna's just graduating too. How are you guys? All right, guys. So Christina Grace. So in order to have a connection with source, you have to have money. So let's talk about that, and you guys can keep writing stuff. So Christina, the greatest disconnection is when people see scarcity. When you are disconnected from source, you see scarcity everywhere. And so when you're disconnected from source, the money doesn't flow. So money in this dimension is a symbol for being in flow. Now, you can have money without being connected to source. There are people that do that. We see it every day. So having money does not equal being connected to source, but being disconnected from source does equal no money. So because you have to be in this flow. So I'm watching spiritual leaders, or people who want to be spiritual leaders, and they're sitting in scarcity. When you go out and you look in the world, and you look at nature, and you look at what source has created, there is no scarcity. There is abundance absolutely everywhere. And it is your birthright to take that abundance, because it is yours. And not take because someone else won't have, but to take because it is your birthright. It's waiting there for you, but you need to be in vibrational alignment for it. And when you're out of sync with source, that's when you start in with the I don't have, and I can't do, and I don't have all this. The minute you say I don't have, that's the story you're creating. You're forgetting how powerful you guys are. When you say I don't have, then source is going to give you more of that. The universe is going to be like, you know what? You're absolutely right. You don't have. And that moment is showing me your disconnection from source, because you're forgetting how powerful you are. When you know how powerful you are, you're aware of your words, you're aware of your creative process, and then what happens? Money flows into you. Flows into your life, it flows into your world. So yes, in order to have, is not in order to have a connection with source. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying if you are sitting in scarcity, you are disconnected from source. There's no other way to look at it. Absolutely not. So go back and reframe. And you guys, you know, a lot of you guys have take Reiki courses and you want to get out and you want to help people and you want to shift people and I see it all the time, but yet you guys are missing the main pieces of being a spiritual leader. You want to help people, but you haven't done all the inner work to get there. You're sitting in this moment of I can't, I don't have, and you're forgetting how creative you are. So when you guys go to create these businesses, you need to be in flow. You need to be connected with source. You need to see and understand with every cell of your body that abundance is your birthright, that source put us here to be abundant and in flow and to be the best version of us. And in this dimension, that comes with having abundance. In this dimension, that's what being in flow is. In this dimension, we can serve people with money. In a different dimension, money probably doesn't even exist, and we wouldn't even be talking about it. But it's been put here for so many reasons. There's so many things I could go on about, but it is one of the things. It's energy, guys. Money is just energy. And when you forget that it's energy and you think it's a thing and that you can't have it or you don't have it, again, it's just showing a disconnection from source. So yes, if you're in the scarcity mode, there's a disconnection. There just is. So Christina, to answer your question again, to make sure, no, not in order to be connected with source, you have to have money. That's backwards. But if you are disconnected from source, you will be in scarcity. So that's what that answer is. And then you're welcome, Christina. So there's that, and that was good. That was a great conversation, though. But for those of you guys who, again, are finding that this is the piece you guys need to be able to step out as a full spiritual leader. So I've seen that. So I have created this new program. Again, it's a monthly program for 6 months. My intention is for you to come into this, master this part that you're missing, the 5 characteristics. There's actually 6 elements of a spiritual leader. I'll post the link. Sales page talks all about it. It's $150 a month. I made it $150 a month because I want you to show up. And I know when I price things lower than that, people don't show up and they don't value it. And this is far too important for you guys to skirt around. So this is something, this is going to get you in alignment with what you need to do to be able to create that business, to be able to take the leap into boot camp so that you can fully change your life and have a massive impact on the planet. So that being said, I think that was all my questions. And I will see you guys in the next video and look for the link above. See you guys soon.